Djinn stands on the deck of the Crimson Hawk without instruments or his songbook, standing a practiced stance with one sword extended before him, the other in his offhand behind his back. He begins to smoothly move through strikes and defenses, focusing on breathing and footwork. After some time, he flips his stance and trains with his offhand. Once finished with his warm-ups, he resets and begins to practice his strikes and defenses while changing between standard and southpaw stances fluidly, making the whole experience appear similar to a dance to onlookers.
Ooh, I think I've seen this dance before. I've always wanted to learn it, but I've always been swifter with my hands than with my feet.
She chuckles. Djinn quickly finishes his kata and turns towards Celia. You seen this before? Wait, this is more training than a dance. Anyways, what brings you out and about today, Miss Celia?
Just keeping up with my own skills.
She winks at Djinn.
Don't worry, all will be returned. I'm just practicing. Don't want to get rusty, you know.
Does a little twirl of the blades, sheathes them, and starts checking his proverbial pockets. I can understand keeping yourself fresh and practiced. But I must say, very brave of you even considering lifting something off of me while I'm swinging a pair of swords around like this. Gets mildly frustrated that he can't figure out what's missing. Okay, I'll give up. What did you manage to get off of me? With a mischievous grin.
Nothing.
Then quietly to the side.
Yet.
She has lifted your concentration, I suppose. She's quite good at that.
Oh, Silas, I'm so glad you're here. You dropped this.
Holds out his snake necklace. Djinn visibly jumps at hearing another voice. Didn't realize I had such an audience, but I do suppose you're right about her borrowing my attention. I'm just glad it wasn't my book. I don't like others seeing my work before it's finished. Chuckles and takes the necklace.
Dropped it, huh? As usual, your hands know no bounds.
Blushes, leaning against the railing and looking down towards the ground with a passing interest in what might be down there.
Yeah, sorry, I don't tend to announce myself.
Sincerely to Djinn.
I swear then, I shall not touch your book. Unless you really do drop it.
I wouldn't expect you to. I lose myself in the motions occasionally and fail to recognize my surroundings. It's a wonder I haven't fallen off the ship aside from that one time we were docked in Morladrona waters. I somehow managed to keep my grip on Dusk, but I ended up having to hire a diver to retrieve Dawn for me. Celia chuckles at the memory.
I would have liked to have been there for that one, but definitely don't do it while we're up here.
She looks off into the distance thoughtfully.
Do you think we'll have any trouble with dragons since we are in their domain? Might be pretty thrilling as well as terrifying.
She shudders with anticipation. I certainly hope so. Djinn pats the ship's mast, almost reverently in his own eyes. There's something special about this ship I can't quite explain. Maybe it will keep us from being tracked down by a dragon, but I would prefer not to test that theory if we don't have to.
I agree completely. There is something otherworldly about this exceptional vessel. I feel very protected on it. I don't know if I've ever really felt that before.
She trails off and then pauses as if lost in thought, then shakes it away and smiles again.
Even so, wouldn't it be incredible to see one? From a safe distance, of course.
Djinn lets silence persist for a moment as he thinks on Celia's words. In all honesty, I'm not so sure there's a safe distance from them. I never heard of anything that even approaches them in terms of danger, yet at the same time they intrigue me. The idea that something could be as marvelous as the sketches I've seen, yet as dangerous as their wake implies. I believe a part of myself may want to come across one, regardless of what the outcome it may bring. Celia nods in understanding and continues to search the sky.
I would consider it a crime if we didn't encounter one at some point.
Raises his head to look at the horizon.
Would add some much-needed color to these days. Of course, that color might be red in the end.
Turns to Djinn while leaning against the railing.
Do you know anything of them? Defenses? Weaknesses?
They are as new to me as they are to most everyone else. Though I've heard a tale or two about certain weapons being more useful than others, though I can't speak on whether or not those stories are true.
Which ones?
I've heard there's a certain type of steel that's somehow better for this use, though I've no idea how it works or how to make it.
Interesting.
Stepping out of his cabin beneath the helm, Mazrin takes a deep breath of cool air. Thin from the altitude, he catches the end of Djinn and Celia's conversation.
Their scales are soft in the armpits and behind the ears, but the true weak spot are the wings. A grounded dragon is much easier to engage.
Eyes Celia, checks his pockets, and walks to the helm.
We should be nearing Fulcrum. Always an interesting place.
Smiles proudly at Mazrin's suspicion.
What's interesting about it?
Djinn perks up at new information. How do you know so much about dragons, Captain?
Good point.
To Celia.
It's a lot like Nathir. but with less rules.
Chuckling to himself,
I can read, you know. When I was in Hellfire, before I found her,
patting the wheel.
I studied with the Hellfire bookworms. Lots of it is just floof to make stories sound good. But read enough and you can put some truths together.
Nodding her head, impressed.
Didn't take you for a reader.
Grins.
Well, to be honest, there really wasn't much else to do while I waited for almost 10 days for the sandstorms to die down.
Raising his chin and arching an eyebrow, feigning offense.
I enjoy the refined things too. Just mostly refined gold coins and what I can buy with them.
His telltale grin returns.
Now that's something we have in common.
She holds up a flask and toasts to him. His eyes widen quickly in disbelief, his offhand reaching for his belt, followed by a sigh of relief.
Never gonna get used to that.
Snickering with playful amusement.
Don't worry, it's not yours.
You certainly are more than you appear to be. What is it that drew you to the hawk, besides its unique qualities?
I just have a hard time turning down adventure.
Shrugs.
To be quite honest, I don't even really know what we're up to out here. What are we up to?
Chuckling.
Now you are asking the right questions. We are headed to the Isle of Northwind. I've heard rumors of strange happenings, and I like strange happenings. They usually have loot involved, such as the life of a pirate.
See, that's why I joined up. I could tell from the look of you that you're a man who likes a good mystery to solve. I figured I could count on you and the rest of the crew for a thrilling experience.
Takes a deep breath of fresh air, looking at her a little closer.
It is also the very best way for mysterious individuals to be difficult to track.
Tilting his head.
I am aware of Ophelia's questionable employment, and I know she keeps her company.
Raising his hands in indifference.
I care not so long as we have an understanding of mutual gain.
Laughing heartily now.
I'm not trying to be difficult to track. In fact, I prefer staying in easy contact with many of my friends, just in case. I'm always up for an alliance of mutual gain.
Giving her a confused look that fades quickly.
Interesting. Having a network like that could be useful to tap into.
Muttering under his breath.
Shadows. Shadows everywhere.
Djinn's eyes light up at the mention of strange occurrences. I've learned to just hang on for the ride for the most part with you. But what type of strange are we talking about? I'm always in the market for strange things. Can't wait to get there. He gets almost jittery with excitement.
The kind that doesn't tell you anything. People go there and never come back.
Shrugs.
Could be all dead or captured or who knows. But I'd like to have their stuff.
Smiling with greed. Ominous. Don't be getting my hopes up too much. I live for this stuff.
I'm sure you'll get something to add to your book, Djinn.
Brightening.
Or maybe the reason people go there and never come back is because it's such an amazing place to be. They just don't want to leave. But let's hope not for the sake of adventure.
That's the spirit.
He walks with a practiced steadiness to the bow of the ship, carefully leans one foot on the railing and looks over the edge. Seeming to sway with the ship effortlessly, a strange tune can be heard over the wind, and the ship's sways and bobs seem to gracefully match the rhythm.